The Arctic was quiet, except for the wind moving across the endless white surface. Dr. Rowan Hale stood outside the research station, staring at the horizon. The air felt different today. Too still, too heavy. He could not explain why, but something deep in his mind told him that the ice was hiding a secret. Rowan rubbed his hands together and turned to go inside, but then the ground gave a soft shake under his boots. It was small, almost like a sigh from the earth. He froze, waiting. Nothing happened for a few seconds. Then another tremor came, stronger this time. He hurried inside the station. "Did you feel that?" he asked. Dr. Lena Torres looked up from the monitor. She pushed her glasses higher. "Yes." The sensors picked it up too. It wasn't a normal quake. Rowan walked over. On the screen, the seismic line spiked in strange patterns. Not natural, not familiar. "What is this?" Rowan whispered. Lena shook her head. "I don't know, but it came from the northwest ridge, right from the middle of the glacier." Before they could discuss it further, a loud cracking noise echoed through the station. It came from outside. The metal walls vibrated. Everyone stopped talking. Rowan grabbed his thick coat. "Let's go. Bring the scanners." The team stepped out into the freezing air. The cracking sound grew louder. It was like the ice was breaking open from the inside. The wind carried sharp white shards into the air as the glacier in the distance split apart. They walked carefully toward the ridge. Snow fell from above as the crack widened. Rowan felt his heart beating fast. Something big was happening. When they reached the ridge, the ground ahead of them suddenly sank with a loud boom. A giant piece of ice dropped, revealing a deep pit below. A cold fog rose from the opening, swirling around their feet. Lena gasped, What is that?" Rowan stepped forward slowly. At the bottom of the pit, something metallic glowed faintly under the ice. Smooth, curved, huge. It was not rock, not ice, not anything from Earth. Rowan felt his breath catch. This can't be real. The metallic surface stretched far in both directions, disappearing under the glacier. As the fog thinned, more of it became visible. It was a silver-blue color, almost like polished glass. Strange symbols ran along its side, half buried by frost. The team stood in silence, the cold forgotten. "It looks like a ship," Lena said quietly. Rowan nodded slowly. "A very big one." Another crack sounded from the far side of the pit as more ice broke away. A bright flash of light appeared from underneath the surface, just for a second. It was weak but clear. The metal wasn't dead. Something inside was still alive. A shiver went down Rowan's spine, one that had nothing to do with the cold. "Scan it," he said. The team pulled out their portable scanners. The devices hummed as they read the strange object. After a few seconds, the screens lit up with numbers that made no sense. "No metal on Earth matches this," Lena said. "And the energy reading," Rowan paused. "It's faint, but it's there." They circled the edge of the pit carefully. The object, maybe a ship, seemed frozen in place, as if it had been trapped beneath the ice for thousands of years. Rowan tried to imagine the moment it arrived. Did it fall from the sky? Did it land here on purpose? Why had no one ever discovered it? He moved closer to the edge. The fog shifted, clearing another piece of the surface. Something else became visible, a window, a dark, oval window near the top side of the ship. It was covered in ice, but he could see the outline clearly. Someone had once looked through that window. Someone who was not human. Rowan stepped back, his heart pounding harder now. The air felt heavier, as if the discovery itself changed the atmosphere around them. "Rowan," Lena said softly, "we should report this." "We will," he answered. "But not yet. Let's understand what we found first." Another beam of light flickered under the ice. This time brighter. It glowed for a full second before fading again. Lena swallowed. "It's waking up." Rowan did not respond. He watched the surface of the ship carefully. The ice around the window shook slightly, almost like something inside touched the glass. "We need to go back," Rowan said. "We need more equipment." As they turned to leave, the ground behind them trembled again. A section of ice deeper in the pit cracked open, releasing a loud echo across a ridge. Rowan looked back, eyes wide. From the darkness inside the ship, a faint, slow pulse of blue light glowed, steady this time, not fading. The ship was not asleep. It was waking up. And whatever it held inside had been waiting for a very, very long time. Snow fell softly over the ridge as the team returned with ropes, lights, and drilling equipment. The strange ship still lay beneath the ice, silent but glowing with a faint blue pulse. Dr. Rowan Hale felt a mixture of fear and curiosity twisting inside him. The closer he got to the pit, the more he felt the weight of something important waiting below. Lena secured the rope to a metal anchor. The ice is stable enough. We can go down. Rowan nodded, took a deep breath, and lowered himself into the pit. His boots sank into cold powder as he reached the bottom. Up close, the surface of the ship looked even stranger. The metal was smooth like glass, yet warm under his glove. It felt almost alive. The rest of the team followed, their lights shining across the curved surface. "We need an entry point," Rowan said. "Something we can open without damaging anything." Lena brushed away snow. "There's a seam here. Maybe a door." They cleared the frost-around seam. It formed a perfect oval shape, too perfect to be natural. Rowan pressed his hand against it. For a moment, nothing happened. Then a soft vibration ran through the ship. The door lit up with a thin line of blue light, tracing the oval outline. Lena stepped back. Rowan, before he could answer, the seam opened silently. The door split into two halves and slid into the walls, revealing a dark passageway inside the ship. A cold mist drifted out, brushing against their legs. Rowan lifted his flashlight. "We're going in." They stepped across the threshold. The ground beneath them was metal, but strangely soft, like a mixture of steel and rubber. The air smelled faintly like snow and something sweet, almost like flowers. The corridor walls were smooth, covered in faint lines that glowed when touched by light. As they moved forward, small floating lights appeared above them. They drifted like tiny glowing insects, illuminating the passage without sound. "These lights! They're following us," Lena whispered. "They're guiding us," Rowan said. They reached a wide room. At the center stood a large circular platform, covered with thick ice. Strange shapes sat frozen inside it. Rowan scraped away frost with his glove until he could see the outline clearly. It was a chair, tall, curved, shaped for something not human. He kept clearing ice until he noticed the armrest. It had indentations in its shape that looked almost like fingers, but longer and thinner. "Someone sat here," Rowan whispered. "And they were tall," Lena added softly. Another pulse of blue light passed through the room. This time it moved like a wave, brushing past their bodies. The floating lights brightened, then slowly drifted toward a side hallway. Rowan followed them. The hallway led to a small chamber. In the center stood a frozen pod, shaped like a cocoon. Thick ice wrapped around it completely. Rowan wiped the frost away from the front. When he finally saw what was inside, he froze in place. A shape, a silhouette, not human. Lena gasped softly behind him. "Is that—" Rowan leaned closer. The creature inside had a long face, smooth skin, and eyes closed as if in sleep. Its body was slender, with arms longer than any human's. The pod wrapped around it like a protective shell. "It's a cryo chamber," Rowan said. "A frozen life support pod." Lena stepped next to him. "How long do you think it has been like this?" Rowan shook his head. "Thousands of years. Maybe more." Another soft blue pulse moved through the pod. It was weak but real. "It's still alive," Rowan whispered. The floating lights suddenly shifted, gathering above the pod. They glowed brighter, almost like they were reacting to the presence of the scientists. Lena stepped back nervously. "Rowan, something is happening." The chamber walls lit up, covered in symbols neither of them understood. Lines of light spread across the ceiling and traced the shape of the pod. "What triggered this?" one of the team members asked. Rowan swallowed. "Maybe us." The pod released a small hiss, like it took a shallow breath. Rowan raised his hand. "Stop. No one touch anything." But the ship around them seemed to already know they were here. Another wave of energy hummed through the air. The ice covering the pod cracked slightly. A thin line split across its surface. Lena whispered, "Is it waking up?" Rowan stepped closer, but not too close. Maybe, or maybe it's reacting to our presence. He looked around the chamber. Every symbol on the walls glowed softly, forming patterns like constellations. The floating lights drifted lower, stopping above the pod as if waiting. Rowan felt a chill run down his spine. He understood something clearly now. This ship didn't crash here by accident, he said. It came here for a reason. Lena looked at him. How can you tell? It's too intact, too perfect. And this, Rowan pointed at the pod. This wasn't left behind. It was placed here. The ice on the cocoon cracked again. A soft blue glow shined from inside, growing brighter. Rowan stepped back, his heart pounding. Everyone, he said quietly. We need to return to the entrance. But what about the pod? Lena asked. We'll come back, Rowan said. Right now, I don't think the ship wants us any closer. As they slowly backed away, the pod gave off one final pulse of light. It was strong, warm, and somehow it felt almost like a heartbeat. Rowan looked at Lena. It's not dead, he whispered. It's waiting. Snowstorms raged outside the ancient ship. But inside the chamber, everything was calm and glowing with soft blue light. Dr. Rowanhale and his team stood near the entrance, watching the frozen pod from a safe distance. No one spoke. Everyone felt the same thing. Something inside the ship had changed. Lena held the scanner close to her chest. Rowan, the energy readings are rising again. Rowan nodded. He could feel it too, like gentle vibrations running through the floor. The ship is waking up. Slowly but surely. The floating lights drifted around the pod once more. They no longer wandered but moved in an organized circle, almost like they were performing a ritual. The blue symbols on the walls glowed brighter, spreading into the hallway. Rowan raised his hand. Stay alert. It might try to communicate with us. The pod cracked again. A thin piece of ice slid off and shattered on the metal floor. The glowing light inside the cocoon pulsed in a steady rhythm. Soft, then bright, soft, then bright. A heartbeat. Lena whispered, "This creature is alive, and it's trying to send us something." Rowan stepped closer, just enough to observe. Let's not touch anything. Watch and record. The ship suddenly responded to his voice. Lines of light traveled from the pod to the walls, then across the ceiling, forming a huge circular symbol above them. The shape looked like a star surrounded by spinning rings. The floating lights rose higher, arranging themselves into tiny points inside the symbol. Then, slowly, the symbol changed into something more understandable. A map. Lena gasped. That's the star map. It's showing its home, Rowan whispered. The map zoomed in, and one glowing point blinked rapidly. Then the symbol stretched and morphed again. It became a picture, faint and blurry, but clear enough to understand. A planet, green, blue, large oceans and forests. The creature's world. Another pulse came from the pod. Then more symbols appeared. Pictures of cities, towers, ships the size of mountains. Then pictures of people, tall, slender, gentle-looking beings with glowing eyes. Lena covered her mouth. They were peaceful. The pictures changed again. This time, the images turned dark. Fire, crumbling buildings, alien warships attacking the planet, the tall beings fleeing in giant starships. Rowan felt his stomach twist as the last picture showed a single ship, the one they were standing in now, flying away from a burning world. Rowan whispered. It escaped, alone. Then the map zoomed out again. A line formed from the alien planet to another point, Earth. The picture changed to show ice. Snow, the Arctic, the ship landing and burying itself under thick ice. Lena took a step back. It came here on purpose, to hide, or to survive. Another pulse came from the pod, stronger than before. The ice cracked loudly and split apart. More pieces fell off, revealing the smooth surface of the cryo chamber. Inside, the creature moved. Just a little. Just enough to show it was waking. The floating lights moved closer to Rowan now. They formed a straight line in front of him, glowing brighter as if asking him to step forward. Rowan swallowed hard. It wants something from me. Lena grabbed his sleeve. Be careful. He nodded and walked toward the pod. As he approached, the pod's glow reacted to him. The soft blue light brightened and formed symbols on a transparent surface. Rowan lifted his hand and held in the air, stopping just before touching the pod. A final image appeared on the walls. It showed a tall alien figure standing beside a much smaller human figure. Both were facing a dark shape in the sky. The message felt clear. They need help. Lena whispered. Rowan, they're asking. Rowan's voice was soft. They're warning us. Because the final image showed something else. A giant shadow falling across Earth, like a storm of darkness approaching from space. The pod gave one last strong pulse, and the ship hummed like a living heart. The ice shattered completely. The cryo chamber opened a tiny crack, just enough for cold mist to escape. The creature inside drew a breath. Rowan stepped back quickly. It's waking! The chamber lights flared. The floating lights rushed around the pod in circles. The ship rumbled beneath their feet, like an engine powering up. Rowan shouted, Everyone, stay back! The pod opened wider. A hand, long, slender, with glowing veins, slid out through the crack. Lena froze. It's reaching for us. Rowan's voice trembled. No, it's reaching for help. The creature inside opened its eyes, bright, glowing, and ancient. They focused on Rowan with deep, desperate understanding. And then, in a voice faint but clear inside their minds, a message formed. They are coming. The team stood frozen as the ship echoed with the warning. Rowan felt the weight of a new fear settling over him. This was not just an alien waking up. This was a message, a warning, a beginning. Snowstorms raged above the Arctic. But deep inside the frozen ship, everything shook with a quiet warning. Dr. Rowan Hale stood near the awakening alien, trying to understand the danger hidden in its glowing eyes. The creature, weak but conscious, slowly lifted its hand, pointing toward the ceiling of the ship. Rowan felt a cold pressure in his mind, like a whisper being pushed inside his thoughts. Look up! The lights in the ship brightened, and the walls shifted into a giant screen showing the sky far above the ice. At first, it looked normal, dark clouds, heavy wind, and blowing snow. Then a strange shimmer appeared, a tiny black that grew bigger and bigger, coming closer with a strange humming sound. Lena stepped closer to the display. What is that? A storm. Rowan knew it wasn't a storm. The shape was too perfect, too smooth. It looked like a massive black disk, silent, cold, and watching. Lena whispered, Is that a ship? The alien inside the cryopod gave a weak nod. Its voice echoed in both their minds, soft and broken. Hunters. The word made Rowan's heart drop. Hunters. The same force that destroyed the alien's homeworld. The same force that chased the ship across the stars. They followed it here, Rowan said, all the way to Earth. The alien lifted its hand again, and the display zoomed in. More dark shapes appeared behind the first one. 10, 20, maybe more. They moved like shadows, floating silently above the clouds, invisible to human satellites, but fully visible to the ancient ship. Lena took a deep breath. Rowan, if these things come through the atmosphere, they won't be coming to talk, Rowan said quietly. Suddenly, the ship's floor vibrated. The ancient systems powered up, glowing brighter with every second. Panels rose from the ground like waking machines. The floating blue lights moved quickly, forming a protective circle around the alien. The alien's voice whispered again. They sense my awakening. Rowan turned to the creature. Can your ship fight them? The alien closed its eyes weakly. Not alone. The warning hit Rowan hard. Humans were not ready for this. Earth had no weapons to stop something that could destroy an entire civilization. The ship's lights flickered, and another screen appeared, this time showing something closer. A bright beam scanned the ice above them, melting through it like hot metal through snow. Lena gasped. They're searching. They're trying to find this ship. Another beam cut across the ice, sending cracks through the frozen cave. Snow and ice tumbled down from the ceiling. We need to leave, Rowan said. We can't be buried here. But the alien shook its head. Ship cannot move yet, but it can hide. The blue light spread out into long beams, forming a glowing net over the walls. The ship's core began to hum loudly. Lena braced herself against a nearby console. What's happening? Rowan kept watching the sky display. The black ships above were moving, scanning in every direction. They were looking for life, energy, movement, any sign of the alien survivor. The alien lifted its hand. The cryo chamber opened more, letting more cold mist drift out. Its body was tall and slender, glowing faintly under the ice dust. I must wake fully. Only then can I help protect your world. Rowan stepped closer. What do you need? The alien looked at him, its eyes gentle but urgent. Time. Outside, the first enemy ship broke through clouds. Its black surface reflected nothing. It moved silently, as if it wasn't even touching the air. Then metallic doors opened beneath it, revealing rows of strange rods that began to glow. A weapon. Lena grabbed Rowan's arm. Rowan, they're going to fire. The glowing rods pulsed once, twice. But just before they released their energy, the ancient ship reacted. Blue shields snapped into place around the cave. A deep vibration ran through the ground, and light shot upward like a pillar. Outside, the enemy ship paused. The weapon shut down. They can't penetrate the shield, Rowan whispered. Lena exhaled shakily. But how long will it last? The alien answered slowly, its voice faint. As long as I remain awake. The shield flickered for a moment. The enemy ship moved closer, circling like a predator. More ships descended behind it, forming a silent ring over the Arctic sky. Rowan looked around at the glowing interior of the ancient ship, the alien resting weakly in its open pod, and the screen showing the dark swarm above. Humans had no idea this danger existed, but Rowan understood something clearly now. The alien ship hadn't just carried a survivor. It carried a warning. And Earth had just become a battlefield. The alien met Rowan's eyes again. Help me, and I will help your world survive. Rowan nodded slowly. The threat in the sky had come, and humanity's future now depended on a fragile alliance, one born in ice, danger, and a promise glowing in ancient blue light. The ancient ship hummed like a giant heart beneath the Arctic ice. Dr. Rowan Hale stood beside the awakening alien, watching the blue crystals inside its pod glow brighter with every passing second. Above them, the enemy ships circled like vultures waiting for the right moment to strike. The shield held, but Rowan could feel the pressure growing. The alien slowly sat up. Its skin glowed softly now, and its eyes were brighter than before. It looked stronger, even though its movements were slow and careful. Rowan stepped closer. Are you ready? The alien nodded, awake enough to help and awake enough to tell you the truth. Lena leaned forward, anxious. What truth? The alien raised its hand. A new image appeared on the wall. This time not a memory, but something like a prediction. Human cities, human ships, human explorers traveling the stars. Rowan blinked. Is this the future? The alien's voice echoed gently in their minds. A possible future, if humans accept the path. The lights shifted again, showing something else. Humans standing beside the alien species, working together, fighting together, building together. Lena whispered. You mean humans and your people could join each other? The alien nodded weakly. Yes, you have the spirit of survivors. You adapt. You grow. You do not fall easily. The display darkened. Now it showed the enemy fleet, bigger than anything Earth could imagine. But the hunters will not stop. They destroy all who resist. My world died because we tried to run. Rowan clenched his fists. So what do we do? Fight. The alien lowered its head. Not alone. You cannot win alone. But with our technology, with our knowledge, your world can rise. The ship hummed loudly, and a small panel opened in the floor. Something rose from it, a glowing orb, swirling with blue light. It floated gently, reaching Rowan's chest level. Lena stepped back. What is that? The alien spoke carefully. A seed of the core. It holds the power to grow new ships, new shields, new knowledge. If humans protect it, it will change your future. Rowan held out his hands as the orb floated toward him. When it touched his palms, warmth spread through him. He didn't know how, but he understood something. This small orb could change Earth forever. Suddenly, the ship shook violently. The shield flickered. Lena shouted, "They're attacking again!" The screen showed the black ships firing stronger beams now. The shield cracked like thin glass. The ancient ship groaned, fighting to keep the barrier alive. Rowan looked at the alien. "What do we do?" The alien closed its eyes, gathering strength. "I will give the ship one last push, but you must go. Take the seed. Leave this place." Lena protested. "We can't leave you." "You must." The alien's voice grew softer. "If they capture me, they will learn Earth exists. But if I stay hidden..." It looked at Rowan with calm, glowing eyes. "I can make them believe this world is dead and empty." Rowan felt a heavy pain in his chest. "You're sacrificing yourself." "Not sacrifice purpose." The ship shook again. Ice fell from the ceiling. The alien placed his hand on the floor, sending a pulse through the ship. A hidden passage opened behind Rowan and Lena, an escape tunnel leading up to the surface. "Go," the alien whispered. "Humanity's new destiny begins with you." Rowan hesitated only a moment before pulling Lena toward the tunnel. As they ran, the ship's lights grew brighter behind them. The alien was giving everything, its energy, its life, to create a world humans could survive in. They reached the surface just as the ground rumbled. The ice cracked apart, sending white spray into the air. Rowan held the glowing seed tightly to his chest. Above them, the black enemy ships hovered silently, unaware of the two humans standing in the storm. Their attention stayed on the hidden ship beneath the ice. And then, without warning, the ancient ship's shield exploded upward in a bright column of blue light. The enemy fleet jerked back, scattering in confusion. Lena shouted, "It's working. It's pushing them away." The massive light spread across the sky like a dome. The dark ships were shoved higher and higher until they disappeared into clouds. Some vanished completely, forced back into space. Then the light faded. The storm returned, and the ancient ship fell silent. Rowan stared at the frozen ground, knowing what the alien had done. It protected us even at the end. Lena wiped her eyes. "And it gave us this." She pointed at the glowing seed in Rowan's hands. Rowan looked at it, feeling the weight of the future inside its light. Humans were no longer alone. They had a mission, a warning, and a chance to rise. Rowan whispered to the wind, "We'll build what you started. We'll protect our world." He looked up at the stormy sky, where the enemy had vanished. Humanity's new destiny had begun, and Earth was no longer just a home. It was the next chapter of the stars.